Hey everyone, welcome to the new episode of the Boostly podcast. Today we are going behind the host and hearing a host who's based in Newcastle in England and hearing his story and seeing what tips and shares that he's going to have for us. If you haven't sort of already heard, then today there is the Boostly podcast that you're listening to, of course, and this is the podcast that gives you the tools, the tips, the trainings, but most importantly, the confidence to go out there and get more direct bookings. And part of the reason why we do these behind the hosts is because hospitality can be lonely. So really hearing it from other people's perspectives and some of the challenges and some of the successes that they're going through can really help you as a host in your business. So let's dive in. I've got Vee Intro from HNFC Stays. So welcome along. Let's dive in. Tell us a little bit of an introduction to who Vee is, where you're based in the world. I can detect that's not a Newcastle accent as well. So tell us about how you come to be in Newcastle and just a little bit about yourself.
Sure, of course. Yeah, as you probably picked up, I'm not from around here. So to cut the long story short, so I left home when I was 14 and I'm from Belarus. So I'm a Belarusian and all my family obviously from Belarus as well. So I left home when I was 14 to study in New Zealand all by myself. So that's actually where I picked up most of my language skills, because all I knew is the one word, I don't understand. Well, I don't understand. That's all I knew when I got there. So for 3-4 months, that's literally all I was saying. And then obviously as the time passed, I got more. And after I graduated through my Cambridge examinations there, I basically got accepted into foundation in the UK, into Hostfully University, and then decided to take a completely different path from intended, go with finance and investment management, because I've been quite interested in my college back in the days. And that's kind of how it all started.
That's cool. I mean, to leave home at 14 and to take that big risk, that's already, how did you feel taking that step?
I'd say it was one of the most interesting probably chapters of my life. So one thing that actually my uncle taught me, well, again, when I was 14, because it's literally have no family, you don't speak the language, it's in New Zealand, it's completely different culture, you don't know what's happening there, but it was only for the one main reason, to learn more about how the business is being made on the West. Mm-hmm. And obviously get into the really good education with the Cambridge, because I want some grants. Obviously, the education was quite expensive with that. So it probably was the drive to become an entrepreneur that actually said, okay, I'm without my family, without my friends, I don't know anything, but that's what I want to do. So that's why I will do that.
Amazing, very inspirational. So talk us through HNFC Stays. How did the business come about? And tell us whereabouts. Obviously we know it's Newcastle, but how many units and who you tend to serve, what kind of avatar?
Yeah, of course. So HNFC kind of has a long history now. In April will be 5 years old. So the company has changed its operations in the last few years. At the beginning, we started as an investment firm. So we've been managing money for clients, wealthy individuals, just on a stock market. Then we got into the property investing, and just a little less than a year ago, we started doing vacation rentals. And the way it's actually all started is because I'm also here on my entrepreneurial visa, and I had some troubles with our software. And so what can we do? Let's try Airbnb. So basically I got into South Shields. That's why I'm at today. And I thought, how about I test if I just rent out my spare bedroom? And if it works, I'll consider doing like an entire flat, because obviously it's the risk, you don't have anyone to ask, you need the capital, and you kind of lost there. So I've done this. It actually did pretty well. It literally was a year ago. And now we manage 4 units, and we'll get probably another 2, like literally this month. So we just bought a house on this Monday. So we're doing all the refurbishment. So it will be great. This place where I'm at today, it will be an entire flat for the next few months. And then also we'll probably get another good flat in Newcastle for this area. In regards to the guests that we're serving, we're still working this out, because it kind of varies, because we have 2 very central flats in the city center, 1 bed, which is a perfect. Most of the time they're all booked. However, it's very noisy. It's a listed property, so there's no double glazing, and there's very limited thing we can do with this property. So it's suitable mainly to young teenagers who actually travel, need to experience the vibrant light of Newcastle, because you probably know it's a very interesting experience for people to have. But in the same time, we do host families, especially students with the graduation when it comes to that, some small events, obviously like no parties, but mainly it's like family and friends who need a more quiet area, still within the walking proximity to the city. So that's kind of our strategy of what we're trying to do.
How did you find your units? What kind of structure do you use? Are these kind of bought, managed, or rent to serviced accommodation units? And how did you feel getting those first units as well?
Right. So it probably was obviously the hardest bit, because everyone says, oh, just find more properties and it's pretty much you sorted. Obviously, you're starting like everyone else is going through Zoopla, Rightmove, OpenRent, etc., all these different websites. And for me, it didn't work out. So I started asking my friends who actually happen to be in the industry. They manage 4 or 5 flats, and they have literally 2 flats in the same building as we have today. So they said, actually, I'll talk to my agent. Maybe she has something. Reach out to her. So after 2 months of searching, finally, she actually got back to me, because it was complete nonsense. And she said, yeah, okay, I'll do the viewing. Like, can you do it now? And I'm in South Shore. I was like, well, it will take me probably like an hour to get this. And like, but I can do it now. So actually, literally getting an Uber, driving there, because I know I need a flat, like I need it. So we're going there, we're seeing the flat. I was like, okay, it's not bad. And then we literally signed the agreement. The best part was, there was no negotiations need to be done with this company, because they know exactly what I need to do. And the whole building, it's kind of focused on short-term rentals, because if you live there permanently, probably because of all the noises, like literally you can hear the bus laughs outside, because it's so central and the sound isolation is very minimal, it's probably not going to work. So an entire building, like probably for 40 or 50 flats, and probably 80% of them are for the short-term accommodation. So literally in my contract, it says you're allowed to subletting or whatever you need. However, there's a little catch to that. You need to pay a 1 month rent as the service fee for allowing you to do an Airbnb. So that was the only con, really.
Tell me more about the tech that you use in your business. Do you use any tech at all?
Yeah. So the most important bit was for me is put the structure right at the beginning. So obviously we're paying a lot in overheads. For example, like as I said, on some months it's like 6 to 8K in revenue, but like my personal take is so little, because I have to pay admin assistants. We have 2 admin assistants at the moment, and they also obviously co-host that does all the checking. They deal with all the queries, because before 3 a.m., 1 a.m., I'm always replying, I'm always sorting all issues, because it's kind of how I want to treat our guests. So we're always there 24/7. Obviously, the cleaners, actually on some month we do pay like £1,400, which basically you can actually hire your own dedicated cleaner, and obviously have more control, save money, and maybe make some money along the way to clean other flats. But yeah, so we use UpListing as a channel manager. That's a key thing. I highly recommend this. Obviously, there are a lot of different alternatives, and it's actually helped us to have everything in one place, because as soon as you get more than 1 property, let's say more than even 2, it becomes a problem. Different calendars, clashes, double bookings, which is way more common than you think. But as soon as you actually set everything up, it's so easy to automate your business. Like what perception, what messages goes there, discounts, everything. Then second, obviously, it's a beyond pricing. So this is basically a dynamic pricing software. There are some integrated with Airbnb, but I would strongly say do not use it, because Airbnb algorithm is way poorer than others. Plus, the main idea is put heads in the beds. So it's not in their direct interest to put the right price for you rather than the lowest, which is something you perhaps want to consider. We also use Hostfully since June. So we've designed all our e-guides customly tailored to the guests. So as you know, you probably can have like a nice leaflet or like a folder on arrival for the guests, but we thought, okay, we'll do it electronically. which actually automatically has all the events, pubs, cafes, scenes that actually it pulls up of the internet on your local area and address. So it's always up to date, and it's based on the proximity and obviously all the additional information that we have, plus additional services. So now our goal is to increase the average ticket by selling add-ons, early check-in, late checkout, fridge stocking. We do transfers as well from the airport and to the airport. And we're thinking of launching your own chef that actually comes and do the cooking for you, but it's probably more to the a premium side of the market. So probably not just yet.
So thank you so much. So was there anything I missed before we bring things to a close, Vee?
Everything was covered. The only thing I probably would add to our software list is also to put Notion in there. I'm not sure how much you know about the software, but basically Notion helps you to organize everything. Documents, processes, onboarding, especially learning materials for your staff. I would say it's really important because at the beginning, every time you need to interview someone, then you have to onboard them. But rather than create a document, videos, share the link on Notion, you don't need to be involved.
That's cool. And that's one which every business needs, isn't it? Is organization.
100%. Any business, even in your personal life, I also use Notion with all my yearly goals, and each single goal has kind of own mini action plan that you need to follow. So it's really helping.
Well, thank you so much for that tip as well. So thank you, Vee. That's fantastic to find out about your business. Thank you also if you're listening into this episode of the Boostly podcast. We know there's a lot of places you can put your attention, and we thank you for putting it with Boostly. Hopefully you've got some amazing tips from obviously that one at the end there, which is Notion, but also some of the software that you could go out and use, like UpListing, Beyond Pricing, and also some of the real life situations that you deal with in hospitality and some of the challenges that come along with it. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you again, Vee. And yeah, we'll see you on the next podcast. All right. Bye for now.
Having a blast, gonna get it on the Boostly podcast. Boostly like Bruce Lee, cause it's so hard and the T is loose leaf. Making up those rhymes, don't write it, just do it loosely.